All right, in this video, I'm going to cover the most common ground ball double plays that you'll find in baseball. So there's some really interesting ones like the 3-6-1, the 2-6-3, some really rare ones that happen. There's also some really common ones that you probably heard of, the 6-4-3. We're going to run down the whole list of different double plays that can happen in baseball. All right, first, we have to brush up real quick for those of you who are beginners of the different position numbers, because that's how these double plays are labeled. 6-4-3 means shortstop to second baseman to first baseman. So 1 is pitcher, 2 is catcher, 3 is first baseman, 4 is second baseman, 6 is the shortstop, 5 is the third baseman, and the outfielders don't really matter, but 7 is left field, 8 is center field, 9 is the right fielder. So those numbers are important to understand because that's how they correspond on any play on the field. So a 6-4-3 again is a shortstop throws to second baseman who throws to the first baseman. 1-2-3 double play is the pitcher throws to the catcher who throws to the first baseman. So that's how these double plays are expressed in the scorebook. The next thing I want you to understand is that ground ball double plays only happen on medium or hard hit ground balls. This is a common misconception that basically any ground ball that's hit when the double play is in order, meaning there's at least one force out on the bases with less than 2 outs, that every ground ball is going to become a double play. It's not true. It's got to be hit pretty hard and relatively close to the fielder to become a double play. Because if the shortstop has to run 12 feet after it, it's going to take too long by the time they field it, and then they have to make a throw, and then there's the return throw to first base. So double plays happen very, very fast, especially the high-level baseball, at high levels of baseball when runners are really fast. They happen in a hurry. Medium or hard hit ground balls are pretty much the only ones that ever become double plays. And before we finish today, I want you to leave me a comment in the description below and tell me which double play variation is your favorite. Okay, so let's start with a couple of fun double plays that are a little more rare first. So number 1, the 2-6-3 double play. This one is rare because it's the catcher fielding it, throwing it to the shortstop at second base, who's going to make the return throw to first base. So 2-6-3. This one's rare because it basically is a botched sacrifice bunt. So if there's a runner on first and they're trying to bunt him over to second, if the batter bunts it like really terrible, like only a foot in front of the plate, or maybe they bunt it and it bounces off the plate and kind of bounces up into the air, a good catcher is going to leap up, grab that with his bare hands, and quickly fire that ball to second base. And that ball might be on its way to second before the batter's even left the box hardly. And in that case, that double play can happen. These are rare because A, that bunt's got to be like literally right in front of the plate, like within a couple feet. And that's a really long throw to second base. It's 127 feet from home plate to second base. So that's a really long throw, plus another 90-foot throw. So this is going to be 217 feet of throwing to get this double play to be completed. So that's why these are really rare. It really requires that botched sacrifice bunt. But once in a while you see this, and it's a pretty exciting play. So that's the 2-6-3 double play. All right, next is the 5-3 double play, and this one only requires 2 players. And this one's fun. It's only runners on first and second. It can be sometimes on bases loaded depending on the situation, but it's usually runners on first and second and 1 or 0 outs. Every situation here is 1 or 0 outs, obviously. But this is 5-3, so it's hit to the third baseman, and instead of going to second, he's going to just step on third and throw that long throw, that 127-foot throw between third and first. And this one's just fun because you see the hitter panic. As soon as they hit that ball close to third with runners on first and second, they're like, oh, crap. Because obviously with 0 outs, this could be a triple play if they hit a rocket to third base. This could be one hop into the third baseman's glove, steps on first, goes to second, goes to first. That could be a triple play. But in most situations where it's not hit that close to third or not hit that hard, the third baseman's going to field it. And if they're still relatively even with the base, they'll just take those couple steps, plant the right foot, and then they'll throw a absolute seed from third to first, which is what makes this play pretty fun. The third baseman gets to show off his arm. And it's just kind of like, I don't know, I think it's a pretty double play. So the 5-3 is the ground ball to third, where they step on third and throw a missile all the way across the diamond to first base. All right, the next is the 5-2-3 double play. So this one is going to happen only when the bases are loaded, and it's similar to what we just talked about, except they're not going to step on third base. So in the 5-2-3 double play, if this ball is hit like a little little bit slower where the third baseman has to charge it, he's not going to be able to go back to third base to step on it and then throw to second or throw to first. But with the bases loaded, this is a good thing anyway, because he's going to go home to get the force out there, and then the catcher is going to throw on to first base. So this is also an interesting double play. It's a lot more rare because obviously the bases have to be loaded, and the ball's got to be hit to the third baseman where he charges. If he doesn't have to charge, if he kind of can stay his ground, then he'll probably just touch on third and then go to second. But it always depends. But again, this is when the ground balls hit to third, the third baseman charges, and that makes essentially his only first out to get a double play. It has to be home, then on to first. So 5-2-3 double play. All right, the next one is the 3-2 double play. And this one only has two is because it's going to be a tag situation for the second one. This is the same situation as the 5-2-3 double play, except on the first base side, a lot more often the first baseman's going to be, close to the bag. And of course, he could charge it, throw home, then back to first. But with the 3-2 double play, what you'll see is the first baseman will field it, step on first because he's close to first base, because he was maybe holding the runner, or he's just maybe closer to first base in general. But if a ground ball's hit to first with the bases loaded, the first baseman can field it, step on first, so that force out is done. And now, because he got that force out, there's no longer a force at home plate. So that's why the catcher is going to be the last man to touch it. So it's 3, he steps on first base, he throws to the catcher. The catcher's got to catch it and lay down a tag. Typically, he'll have a lot of time to do this because if it's hit to first base and he's close, he's going to run over, tag the base. Now the throw's on the way, and the runner's probably not that close to the plate. All right, next is the famous 6-4-3 double play. This is the one you see on t-shirts sometimes. 6 + 4 + 3 = 2. So the 6-4-3 double play is a ground ball hit to short, throws to second, throws to first, right? Pretty straightforward. Now, it's not as straightforward for the second baseman. This one's tough. Anytime the second baseman takes the throw, he's got a runner barreling down on him, and he's standing at the base pretty much waiting with not much momentum. So the second baseman's job is to read the throw and sort of go with it. So if it's kind of to his glove side, towards the first base side, he might reach and step that way. If the throw is towards center field, he might reach and then get his distance from the runner that way. But the runner's going to be bearing down the second baseman. This is also where you'll see the second baseman jump over the runner a lot of times to try to get out of their way. So the second baseman has a really fun, interesting, complex job. I don't know if they would say it's fun, but it's exciting, for at least for the fans, as they try to avoid this base runner barreling down into him because he's planted more or less at second base, ready to field that throw from the shortstop. All right, next is the 4-6-3 double play. I think this is the most beautiful one in the middle infield because the shortstop gets to keep all the momentum. So the second baseman fields it. He's going to throw to the shortstop who's got his momentum running towards second base. He's going to catch it. He's going to swipe his foot along the backside of the bag and then get some distance outside of the base path to make that throw to first base. So this is just a really graceful move. Obviously, the shortstop is one of the best athletes on the field, if not the very best athlete. And this one just really shows the shortstop's athleticism. So it's really interesting to watch their footwork and just watch how this play flows together, both with timing, the throw's got to be timed well to the shortstop, and the shortstop's got to keep their momentum, slide, touch that base with their foot, and then get out of the base runner's way. So all that stuff happens on the same play. So if you don't appreciate just how cool the 4-6-3 double play is, it's really impressive, the athleticism and just the skill of even just the common shortstop in baseball. All right, next, number 7. This is the 5-4-3 double play, and this is, a pretty standard one. Ground ball hit to third, he goes to second, who returns the throw to first. So this is a throw, again, where you'll see either the third baseman sort of ranging towards short and will cut a ball off early. The third baseman should always cut off any ground ball that he can because he's closer to the plate. But the third baseman has usually the strongest arm in the infield, or at least as strong as the shortstop, because they have such a long throw to make. So this one can be tough to turn because it can be a really long throw from third to second, and then a long throw from second to first, obviously that full 90-foot throw. But the third baseman also is going to have the ball in his glove faster than pretty much any other fielder except for the pitcher, because he's playing the hot corner and right-handed hitters are down there smoking balls at him. The ball is going to be in his mitt a lot of times really, really quick. So the 5-4-3 double play is another just sort of old faithful double play. All right, so let's go back to catcher pivot double plays. So another standard one is the 1-2-3. And this is when it's hit back to the pitcher with the bases loaded, a comebacker, and the pitcher, who's number 1, he's going to throw the catcher, who's number 2, who's then going to sort of act like first baseman. This is what the catcher will do on any double play turn, is they'll try to reach out and catch the ball towards the pitcher. So then they're going to move into the infield grass, and so they can get some angle on that throw to first base. They don't want to be in a position where the catcher is throwing directly into the back of the runner as they're barreling down to first base. So pitcher's going to get it, throw the catcher. Catcher's going to step out after they catch it and make a quick throw to first base. The thing to note about 1, 2, 3 double plays is these should be really easy, but pitchers, if you're not familiar with the yips, pitchers, I was a pitcher, we get the yips when we just threw a ball 92 miles per hour, and now we've got to make a 40-foot throw to our catcher right there. We kind of like don't know how hard to throw it. It's a weird phenomenon. Now, the other double play that pitchers are involved in is the 1-6-3, and this one pitchers make a lot more reliably. I mean, they make the 1-2-3 reliably, but the 1-6-3 is a comebacker, and the pitcher is going to turn to his glove side and then usually take one quick shuffle and then fire it straight over second base to the shortstop who should be running over there. This double play requires a lot of timing, and you would think, well, shouldn't he just, as soon as he gets the ball, throw it to second base? The pitcher is only 60 feet away, right? Especially after he does his delivery, he's only like 55 feet away. So if he gets a comebacker, it's going to be in his glove in no time. And so the shortstop is not going to be at second base yet. So this is why the pitcher, even though he's ready to start this double play, he needs to turn and he needs to take usually one shuffle, and that gives the shortstop time to get closer to second base. And then he's going to fire that ball over second base with not anyone there yet. And the shortstop's going to be coming just into frame to catch it, keep his momentum, and then swipe the bag and then make that throw to first. So this double play, in my opinion, is a really beautiful one also because it requires a lot of complex timing. It's not that complex once you get used to it, but if you really think about all the stuff I just said, the fact that you got to wait for the shortstop to get there, you can't throw it where the shortstop is, you got to throw it where the shortstop will be. It requires a lot of moving pieces. But this one's a little mentally easier for pitchers because you're just doing it and you're not thinking about it so much, right? Whereas the catcher situation, the 1-2-3, you're like, oh God, don't throw it away. He's only 40 feet away. This one, you can throw it hard to second base and you're just doing this sort of athletic move that you don't think about it as much. And when you don't think about it as much, you let your practice take over and you just like, boom, you execute. But as a former pitcher, this one's fun because you feel really accomplished, like you're part of the infield when you make this double play. So it's nice to get an infield chance that isn't just a boring bunt or, like running to cover first base. This one's like, yeah, I was a part of that double play. I'm important. All right, and the last three variations are all essentially the same kind of double play. They all start the same way, which is the 3-6 tag, or the 3-6-3, or the 3-6-1. So this is a ground ball hit to the first baseman, who's then going to throw it to second base, where the shortstop will field this throw. And then either they're going to throw it back to first for the third baseman to catch, or for the first baseman to catch, the pitcher to catch, or there'll be a tag at second. So let's go through all these. So this one's really interesting, and it can be hard to pick up. So the 3-6-3 is when, again, the first baseman fields it, throws to second base for the force out, and then the first baseman will have to retreat back to first base to be a first baseman and catch the return throw. Now, this is going to depend on where the first baseman is relative to first base. If the first baseman has to range towards second to field the ground ball, then he's definitely going to throw to second and get the force out. If he's really far, then the pitcher who will be running over will run over and replace him at first base and catch the return throw. That will be a 3-6-1. So the first baseman has to charge the ball or run a little bit towards second to field it. Therefore, he's too far away from the bag. He throws to second, they get the force out. Then they throw back to the pitcher who has to run over, find the base, and catch the throw. This 3-6-3 is when the first baseman fields it relatively close to first base, but still opts to throw to second base first. They get the first out. Then the first baseman turns around, finds the bag, and catches the throw. It's 3-6 back to 3. Now, the 3-6 tag is when the ball is hit more towards first base, where it makes sense because he's so close to tag first base and get the force out there, and then throw to second, at which point they will have to tag the runner. So on the 3-6, again, this is close to first base. The first baseman catches it, makes a decision, steps on first base, will yell, tag, so that everyone knows that they have to tag him, because sometimes it can be tough to tell from afar, and they're focusing on, getting where they need to be. He'll step on first, yell tag, throw it to first base, or throw it to second base, and they'll catch it and put the tag down on the runner. It's a pretty unique play for sure. And then the thing to note about the 3-6-1 is it's hard as a pitcher. I hated having to do this because the ball, I make my pitch, they hit the ball to first base, I'm immediately sprinting to first, And now I've got to find the bag. I like just got there and now the shortstop's ready to throw it to me. I just got there. I got to find it. And now I've got to stretch, look for the ball, figure out where it is. It's really easy as a pitcher to run over there, catch the ball, and then realize you're not touching the base. And then hopefully you look down and you've got another step or two where you can go, okay, there it is, boom, and step on it before the runner gets over there. So you practice this a lot in PFPs, which is pitcher's fielding practice, just getting comfortable running over and finding the base and then being ready to take that throw, because it has to be pretty automatic. Otherwise, it's real easy to catch that throw and realize that you haven't found the base yet, but you can't look down for the base and you'll wear the throw in the mouth and eat the baseball, and then everyone's safe. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video about double plays with a little bit of my insight here as a former pro pitcher. Leave me a comment below. What is your favorite double play variation? Mine, I think, is the 1-6-3. Pitcher back to short, back to first, but I'd love to hear yours. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.